Defensive players. Probably the most frustrating style to play against because every shot you hit, no matter how hard or well executed, comes back, and they stay stable. It feels like the more effort you put in to hit harder and move faster, the more tired you get, while your opponent just casually defends and runs you to the ground. So, how can you break through their defense and stability on the court? In this video, we'll show you 3 key badminton concepts to focus on if you struggle against defensive-style badminton players. But before we get into any of the tactics, it's important to understand what a defensive-style player actually does. They are not just passive retrievers. Their goal is to control the rally by maintaining their balance and consistency while forcing their opponent to take risks. Instead of trying to win the rally early, they are comfortable extending rallies and waiting for mistakes or waiting for an opportunity to counterattack. If you attack without a clear plan, you are often playing directly into their strengths. The longer the rally goes on without pressure or variation, the more comfortable a defensive player becomes. That's why beating these players isn't about hitting harder. It's about disrupting their rhythm and getting them out of position. First, let's talk about how you can break their rhythm and get them out of position with variation. When attacking, it's extremely important to keep your opponent guessing. If your attack patterns are predictable, your opponent can easily adjust their split-step timing and base position, making it much easier for them to retrieve your shots. For example, if you constantly play a full smash straight down the line, your opponent will naturally shift their base slightly toward that side, allowing them to move faster and defend more smoothly. That's why variation is key. Mix in different smash angles, cross smashes, body smashes, and combine them with slices, stop drops, and even pump clears. This forces your opponent to cover all 6 corners of the court and makes it much harder for them to settle into a comfortable defensive rhythm. If your opponent feels incredibly solid and smooth on defense, it's often because they've read and adapted to your shot combinations. Adding more variation disrupts that rhythm and creates openings. Instead of smashing repeatedly from the same position, try using different shot combos. A fast push to their late backhand followed by a stop drop, or a full smash followed up quickly by a cross net, are a few examples that force your opponent to constantly reset their base and timing. Even if none of these shots are outright winners, they slowly reduce the quality of your opponent's defense because it keeps them guessing. Over time, this creates late returns, shorter lifts, and eventually an opportunity to finish the rally cleanly. Variation isn't about playing random shots. It's about preventing your opponent from settling into a predictable defensive pattern. While variation in your shots is important, when you do have the attack, what's arguably more important is being able to vary the speed or tempo of the rally. If you always play at a fast pace, your opponent will eventually match your timing and rhythm, especially if defense is their strength. On the other hand, if you only play at a slower pace, they'll also adapt and become comfortable. That's why being able to suddenly change pace is so powerful. A quick acceleration can catch your opponent off guard, force a weak reply, or even win the point outright. Just as importantly, knowing when to slow the rally back down helps you stay safe and reduce unforced errors. The key is not playing at one speed, but controlling the tempo of the rally. One of the most important parts of changing pace is what happens after your initial attack. Strong players are often able to retrieve the first shot, so the real advantage comes from how quickly you can follow up. Taking the next shot early puts immediate pressure back onto your opponent and prevents them from resetting the rally. This can look like combos, such as a smash followed by a net kill, or attacking after a pump clear with a fast push to the open space. The key idea is that every attacking shot should be played with the intention of creating an even better opportunity on the next shot. Now that we've covered the concept of variation and changing the tempo of the rally with ideas behind your shots, like shot combos, the final part to cover in this video is when you can change pace in the rally. This is arguably the most important point when facing defensive style players. These players excel at retrieving difficult shots and extending rallies until their opponent makes a mistake. Many players fall into the trap of trying to end the rally too early, which often leads to rushed shots and unnecessary errors. Here are 2 ways to know when to change pace. First, attacking when your opponents are out of position. Every player, regardless of level, has a limit to how long they can maintain high-quality shots. If you stay patient and avoid making mistakes, the chances of your opponent hitting a loose shot increase as the rally goes on. So waiting for your window of opportunity to punish a loose shot, or to punish when your opponent has taken the shuttle low, is the first step to changing the tempo of the rally. The second way is to anticipate. All players have habits, whether in their shot choice or footwork, and you can exploit them. For example, a common shot pattern is when you block to the service line, and the opponent takes the shuttle below the tape, they will usually cross push. In this case, you can switch your legs and anticipate the cross push to change the pace of the rally. However, it's important to note that you don't go all in on the anticipated shot, because if your opponent hits a different shot, it becomes much more difficult to react. To counteract this, you can position your body to anticipate one shot while mentally preparing to cover the other. For example, on anticipating the cross push with a leg switch. You will almost never see pro players get caught if their opponent simply blocks the shuttle back, even if their body is positioned for the cross push. It's because they're mentally ready to move back to the front. It's important to note that you cannot anticipate every shot, nor should you try to change pace on every shot. A crucial skill is recognizing when to play safe and reset the rally, and recognizing when you truly have an opportunity to commit to an attack and finish the point. Defensive style players rely on consistency, retrieval, and patience to force mistakes from their opponents. However, no matter how strong their defense is, they always have openings. Rather than relying purely on power or speed, beating defensive players requires variation, tempo control, and patience. By playing smarter and thinking strategically, you'll be far more effective at breaking down even the toughest defenders. If you guys like this video, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on future content. And as always, thanks for watching.